morning, and thank you for joining us on After GMS. It is 7:45 on Tuesday, the 27th. We are 1 week out from Election Day. I'm Tracy McCain in the studio with Megan Malaris. We have Stacey Spivey working from home and Christian Morgan joining us today.
Yeah, Christian, we're still a few days out from Halloween, but look at our sky camera over Greensboro. Very spooky.
Yeah, I've been flipping out all morning over these weather cameras, and I actually shared this with the city of Greensboro and said, hey, hang on to this for Halloween. It's not there yet. We still got a couple days. And weather-wise across the Triad, we hang on to that thick fog this morning, at least as we go over the next couple hours. This is the Lincoln Financial Building. The only part you see is the very top of it, still blanketed in thick fog. But temperature's not bad, in the mid-50s across the board, and visibility really less than a mile across most of the Triad this morning. And it'll take until mid-morning, 10 or 11 o'clock, for all of that to burn off. But once it does, we're left with a nice afternoon. 50s across the board right now, 54 in Greensboro and in Winston and in High Point, 55 in Lexington, and 51 in Asheboro. A mix of sun and clouds this afternoon, and that makes for a really nice afternoon of weather, especially by October standards. A bit warmer than we normally think about the end of October being. We'll be in the lower and mid 70s. And then we'll do the same thing again tonight, partly cloudy skies, patchy fog developing, especially after midnight, with temperatures dropping down into the mid-50s. Of course, all eyes are on Tropical Storm Zeta right now. This is the latest advisory that came out. This is the 8 o'clock advisory, so it just came out a couple minutes ago. It did weaken down to a tropical storm because it's interacting with land right there on the Yucatan Peninsula, places like Cozumel and Cancun, Mexico. But it will likely re-strengthen back up to a Category 1 hurricane as it moves into the Gulf of Mexico later today, and then make landfall along the Louisiana and Mississippi coastline sometime tomorrow. After that, like a lot of these storms have done so far this year, it will take that northeast track and come right over the Piedmont as we get into Thursday. So the clouds thicken up tomorrow. We could get some showers late tomorrow evening and tomorrow night, but the biggest amounts of rain, all of the wind from Zeta come through as we go throughout the day on Thursday. So that's going to be the day to circle this week in your mind and on your calendar to watch. As far as rain totals go, generally thinking 1 to 2 inches across the Triad with higher amounts to the north and west. Now that axis of higher rain could shift further to the west or closer to the east and closer to us in the Triad, just depending on the track of that storm. Those details will nail down for you as we get a little bit closer. And the one thing we haven't seen with any storm this year that will be the difference with Zeta is that we will have some gusty winds, 30 to 40 mile per hour gust, or even more in some cases. And of course, we'll watch for that threat of any strong or severe storms as we get closer to Thursday. Some of that rain could linger into the day on Friday, but if you like cool weather, we are in for a big cool down heading into the weekend. Halloween on Saturday, not getting out of the 50s. Neither is Sunday, and neither is Monday heading into next week with those morning lows in the upper 30s and low 40s.
Well, it's a forecast. And
well, it is that.
So, I mean, we'll enjoy the next few days, but even though it'll be warm on Thursday, you can't ignore all that rain. So
no, there's a little something for everybody this week. If you like it warm, you got the next 2 days. If you like it wet, you like it Thursday. If you like it chilly, you got the weekend.
Hey, you know what? Not bad. Just leave out that other S word.
I aim to please.
All right, well, we aim to please with our conversations, and we'll jump right into our first one. Millions of you have already voted. Those political ads out there are not even close to being over. So what's the impact? How do you make your decision about who you're voting for? Do you pay attention to them? Do you ignore them? Stacey, you have some background.
Oh yeah, from those ads on TV to Facebook, even your phone, candidates are really reaching out to grab your attention however they can. And we know the ads are everywhere, but it seems like they are especially on TV. People reach out to us and ask why so many run, and it's not up to us or any local TV station. When it comes to qualified candidates who are on the ballot for federal office, TV stations cannot refuse to run their ads for any reason, including content. It's an FCC law. The only way we can refuse it is if they violate federal obscenity laws. And remember, we're considered a battleground state, which means more ads for us.
All right, so here's the big question. Do you watch the ads? Do they make a difference? I asked on my Facebook page, do you watch the ads or do you ignore them? Here are the responses. Alita said, I ignore them. Everyone needs to start researching candidates themselves. Stephanie Feaster said, is there some magical way we can let them know we voted early so ads and texts stop? Adrian wants to know, or says, even if I don't like the candidate, I'll listen for what may be newer info. And Marianne said, I never rely on a political ad to make my decision. I like to read as much as possible or word of mouth by a reputable person. So, of course, people are weighing in online as well. And earlier we were talking about how we get those ads. Is it text messaging? Is it, on air? Is it on the radio? I've seen just about everything.
Oh yeah, me too, especially with this election. It seems like there is an increased inundation of text message ads. It's unclear how these political parties get your cell phone number. Somewhere along the line, there must have been some kind of a dating sharing service that, shared that kind of information. But, I just keep replying, stop, hashtag unsubscribe, hashtag never subscribed. I mean, they are just relentless, it seems, from both political parties, not just one. It's all kinds of candidates who are seemingly sending these text messages. Of course, the TV ads, we are continuing to see a resurgence of those with this last week to go, even though an unprecedented number of people have already voted. More than 3.1 million in North Carolina, compared to just more than 1 million at this point in the 2016 presidential election. So that is staggering. Christian, you talked about it earlier. A lot of the political ads have to be taken with a grain of salt. Sometimes they exaggerate the facts about a particular candidate, but they can make you aware of certain races that you might not be as familiar with and prompt you to do your own research.
Yeah, and I don't know if they've swayed anybody so much this year as far as the big elections go, whether it be president or governor or Senate race. But, when you get into they're all important. When you get into the smaller offices and more local offices, a lot of these places and a lot of these candidates that I'm seeing run, I have no idea who they are. So I'm having to do research on my own to figure out, who those people are, what they stand for, and so on and so forth. And like you mentioned about the political, I don't know what I've done. I'm hoping we're not jinxing myself here with a week left to go, but I still have yet to get any of those text messages. So I'm going to cross my fingers that it stays that way.
Well, send me your text number.
Yeah.
No.
I'm just joking.
Reply with that.
No. I'll send them all your way. All right, Stacey, what are people saying on our feed here?
Well, a lot of people say that they simply ignore them. I don't blame you guys. I mean, just seeing so many, it's frustrating, and I get that people don't like them. Andrea says, no, they do not tell me the whole truth. Ignore. Jimmy said the ads mean nothing. Kay says the political ads do not persuade who I vote for. Some of them are good, but I already know by then who I am voting for. And Sharia says ads are ignored, don't seem to be facts. I don't like them. And Bobby says I ignore them. So it seems like the majority of people here say that they just don't pay attention to them. And I mean, I really don't blame them. I think that if you want to get to know the candidates, you can do research on your own. And I feel like these ads, they're just bashing back and forth each candidates. And I'll just be frank with you, I think it's kind of annoying sometimes. And so I can see where some viewers would be not happy to see those on air and just ignore them.
I think it's the abundance of them, right? They're just coming out of nowhere, and they're in every program. You're watching football, there they are. You're watching a news show, there they are. You're watching a talk show that's supposed to be funny, or a late night, comedy act, and all of a sudden there they are. And it's all of them. It's not just, one or two.
You can't escape.
Yeah, there's so many of them. I counted, we had 7 commercials in one break during an evening newscast, and all 6 of them had political messaging. Wow. Only 1 was a law firm.
A couple of those comments there bring up something that I think is worth mentioning. A lot of people saying, they don't know what's fact and what's fiction in the political ads. And we did a really good verify several nights ago. It'd definitely be worth picking up and checking it out on our website about what can go into political ads, how true it has to be, and so on and so forth, the lines that can be crossed in political ads. Thought it was really interesting, something cool to check out.
And also, what about those mailers? It seems like every day my mailbox is full of mailers from political candidates, from the political action committees that support those candidates. And half the time I need to make sure that I'm not accidentally throwing away or recycling actual pieces of mail like bills, because there's just such an abundance of these mailers. But one piece of mail that I got the other day that was really informative was from the State Board of Elections. It was the little booklet, the voter guide, with the list and bios of all the judges that are on the ballots. Judges are partisan races here in North Carolina, and it's important to do your research on those judges as well. They've spent their entire careers mostly in the legal profession. They've tried and are very invested in their casework and case law, and so, you know, they deserve our attention as well in making sure we're making informed decisions about them.
It used to be pretty easy if you went to a ballot or to vote at the polls and it was electronic, as long, like maybe even a decade ago. You know, it was political party voting. So if you were a straight party ticketer, you could just literally hit a button and it would just vote for the party. You really didn't even research. Not that that was a good thing, but it certainly got all of the questions answered, you know, for people. Some people just want to do top to bottom, all one party. But you can't really do that right now with the paper ballots. Even though the races are partisan, you still have to like fill in each circle all the way that you want to vote. So just kind of something that's interesting, you know, how voting changes year to year or election cycle. 10 years ago, you could hit a button, loop, and be out in the 2 seconds. Now it's kind of a process, but it's not better or worse, it's just different.
Yeah, well, even in the primaries, they're different from the general elections quite often. You can vote straight party ticket in the primaries, at least with those electronic voting machines, which are now, of course, being phased out. So it'll be interesting to see how this all develops in this election ahead and in the years to come. So thank you for weighing in on today's Talker. We can continue talking about this. We also have a much lighter segment coming up about cats on Halloween. But first, let's get to our headlines this morning. And we'll start with this. Today, Vice President Mike Pence will campaign in Greensboro. He has remained on the campaign trail even after his chief of staff tested positive for COVID-19 this weekend. The vice president, per his campaign, has tested negative. He will rally supporters at PTI Airport in Greensboro today at 12:30. We'll have full coverage of the visit on air and online at WFMYnews2.com. Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden plans to campaign in Arizona, Iowa, Wisconsin, Georgia, and Florida leading up to Election Day, all considered toss-up states. So far, no campaign stops are scheduled for North Carolina for him, but they could be added a few days before, so we'll keep you posted. Today, as we've been mentioning, is a very important deadline for voting in North Carolina. Absentee ballot requests are due by 5 p.m. If you want to vote by mail, you need to request a ballot for that. You can do so on the State Board of Elections website or pick one up at your County Board of Elections office. Today is the deadline, again, to request that ballot. It needs to be filled out and submitted to an election office or postmarked in the mail by Election Day.
Well, the Carolina Theater reopens 7 months after shutting down due to COVID-19. New restrictions are in place to make sure everyone is safe. And WFMY's Candace Red shares what you can expect when you go.
Before you enter the Carolina Theater of Greensboro, a staff member will check your temperature using a thermal scanner. Guests can also be sure to wear face masks, practice social distancing, and fill out a COVID-19 waiver of liability form. But once inside of the entertainment venue, you'll notice some changes to help slow the spread of COVID-19. Well, hand sanitizer dispensers will be available throughout the theater. Guests, however, will not have access to water fountains. Well, touchless restroom fixtures will also be installed for safety, including toilets and soap and towel dispensers. Staff will also be consistently cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting frequently touched surfaces. That includes seats, bathrooms, railings, and more.
We want to give an opportunity for people to come out and do something on the big screen, get into the big Carolina Theater, and enjoy the movies. We've got a whole array of movies in November that are going to be announced, and with any luck at all, we'll be able to do our holiday movies in December, which are so much a community treat and favorite.
Only 100 people will be admitted to each screening to allow for proper social distancing in the auditorium. Seats will, of course, be at least 6 feet apart. If you're sick or believe you've been potentially exposed to COVID-19, you should not attend any event at the theater. You're also strongly encouraged to practice basic good hygiene. Well, that includes washing your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Taking a look at your screen, because I want to make sure you have these details. Again, you could catch the Hocus Pocus screening today and tomorrow at 7 p.m. at the Carolina Theater in downtown Greensboro. Tickets are $8 with taxes and fees included. The theater is also using touchless ticket entry method with check-in via email receipts. By the way, If you plan on going to the theater, make sure you purchase your tickets online in advance. For more details, visit our website, WFMYnews2.com.
And there's a sequel being made right now, or at least in the works for Hocus Pocus. I've never seen the first one, but I'm excited about maybe seeing them both together. Who knows?
There you go.
All right, so our next conversation is perfect for the Hocus Pocus fans, and all during the week of Halloween. Stacy, get us started.
Yeah, if you've seen Hocus Pocus, you know that famous cat in the movie named Salem, and he's a black cat, and it just so happens to be National Black Cat Day, and we want to see photos of your black cats if you have one. That number is 336-379-5775, but before we show them off, I'm going to give you some background information on black cats and their superstitious history. So in the Middle Ages, black cats became legendary for being the pet of witches. People thought they could be unlucky or even bring bad luck. Sometimes animal shelters will refrain from adopting out black cats during the month of October, all because of unlucky fears. But depending on where you live, that superstition can actually change. In Scotland and in England, if a black cat crosses your path, it's considered good luck. And British sailors used to bring them on board, saying they brought good luck as they sailed across the seas. A lot of people sent in photos already of their black cats, and the first one is Hank, and this next one is Lucy. I like this next one's name. It's Top, something different and unique. And then, of course, had to go with the classic name Salem. And this guy is 20 years old. I thought that photo was pretty funny of him. And then also another older cat. Here is 13-year-old Jazzy. And one of our favorite directors, her cat named Elliot. And then lastly, this is Tilly. This is my mother-in-law's cat. She is a new kitten that they just got. And I haven't met her yet, but I'm excited to meet her. I cannot hold her, unfortunately. I am super allergic to cats, so they're a little spooky to me because they just make me sneeze and my eyes itch and run, and I basically can't be in the same room as them. But I think it's really funny. I mean, growing up, I remember being told that superstition, and I pretty much, like, if I see a black cat, I kind of just, like, that is in the back of my head. I don't know if I really think that they are bad luck, but it's definitely something that crosses my mind every time I see one. What about you guys?
Well, they're definitely not bad luck. They are actually really in need of adopting, especially at Guilford County Animal Shelter, actually any animal shelter, which is why I adopted a black cat several years ago. They are, you know, one of the cats that are often forgotten about. That because of superstitions, they get left behind and they don't have positive outcomes. So there's like this effort to really like go into shelters and clear them out. You make sure you adopt black cats, black dogs, because they deserve good homes too. So they've been lucky for me. I loved mine.
Yeah, I love black cats. I'm not superstitious about them at all. I actually went to Guilford County Animal Shelter in 2013 with the thought of adopting a black cat. But then, of course, I fell in love with my cat Milo, who's a combination of white, brown, and black. So he's kind of multicolored. But, you know, they are so in need of adoption, like Tracy has said. And Stacy mentioned this, that a lot of shelters across the country will not adopt out black cats around Halloween because they're fearful that people could use them in pranks because of the superstition, or that people could adopt them only to use them as props for Halloween photos, and then they're either left behind or taken back to the shelter and put in the same situation. So there's plenty of opportunity around the rest of the year to adopt a black cat. And yeah, if you can have some room in your home and in your heart to adopt a cat in general, that's amazing. They also make good pairings. So if you adopt one, maybe consider adopting another one. I haven't had good luck with that argument in my household. My husband's like, one is enough. We'll see what the future holds for us. Christian, do you have cats?
I don't have cats. I'm a
Dogs.
dog person, and I'm not superstitious, but the only animal that's ever hissed at me was a black cat. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not superstitious, but that is what it is. It was declawed though. It didn't have any claws, so I wasn't scared.
Oh, that's so sad. Sorry,
It's
I'm
all
not
right.
I just can't imagine like someone taking off your fingernails. You know, trim
Good.
them. You know, make sure that they're nice.
Yeah, we just trim our cat's nails. That's a whole different
That's a whole different issue.
Whole
I
different
know. But as soon as
argument.
I heard it, I was like,
Yeah.
I know.
It probably just didn't like what you wore that day, Christian, you know?
Well,
Cats
you
are
know, there's a lot of
temperamental.
people that don't, so
Yeah.
I'm used to it.
Cats are temperamental, you know.
Well,
either
and Christian,
Go ahead.
oh,
Stacey.
sorry, Christian, you're so tall. The cat is probably scared of you because of your height.
Maybe that's it. Maybe if I shrink a little bit, well, that.
No, I think that you're perfect just the way you are.
Oh.
And I'll sing Bruno Mars' song if I have to, just to give you a little boost.
Sing, I'd love to hear you sing.
Okay, I was just joking. So talk about the forecast here, because we're looking at this picture of Burlington here, or at least it should be. We can see the flags, but we can't see the city.
No, you can't, and it's thick fog across the Triad this morning. It is starting to break up in places. We're seeing a little bit more sunshine starting to poke out in Greensboro, and that will continue as we go through the rest of the morning hours, giving way to a mix of sun and clouds this afternoon. Temperature-wise, actually quite nice in the low 70s. So if you like warm weather, you got today and you've got tomorrow. But the clouds will start to thicken up tomorrow evening ahead of the remnants from Zeta heading our way on Thursday. Thursday, again, is really going to be that day to circle on your calendar, in your mind. Just keep it in the back of your mind and know that that's going to be our day to watch. It's likely going to be wet. It's going to be windy. 1 to 2 inches of rain is possible the way it looks now. That could shift depending on the track of the storm. And we'll also get some gusty winds, 30 to 40 miles per hour or even more in some cases. And then, of course, we'll be watching for that threat of any strong or severe storms. Some of that rain can linger into the day on Friday, but then we do start to clear out and we cool down big time heading into the weekend. Not getting out of the 50s Saturday, Sunday, or Monday to start next week.
Next week.
There's a lot going on in a week span here. Weather-wise, election-wise, everything is going on.
And you mentioned daylight saving earlier. It ends this weekend. So after you take the kids trick-or-treating or dress them up, whatever you're doing for Halloween, before you get to bed, go ahead and set your clocks back. Remember, fall backwards. So set your clocks back 1 hour. We gain an extra hour of sleep.
I can't believe
cannot
we're
wait.
already there. I can't believe we're already here to change the clocks again.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's my favorite time of year. People look forward to spring, fall, winter. I'm more like, when's daylight saving this year? Like, I need that extra hour.
It's something to look forward to.
Yeah, there you go. All right, that's going to do it from us. We've chatted your ears off today. Join us tomorrow for more great conversations. We certainly appreciate you joining us for these, and we'll check you guys next time. Take care.
See ya.